You do not need another diet to achieve weight loss success. Yes, that's true. You don't need another diet. We have so many diets. Every day, a new authority is coming out with another diet, another book, another plan. This is the best. Maybe if I do this diet, I will be slim, happy, and free. The truth of the matter is that the perfect diet is not the answer to your weight loss success. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can begin doing today to start to achieve weight loss success, sustainable weight loss, and it does not include another new diet. Hi, I'm Maria LiPuma, the creator of the Body Confidence Solution, where I help health-conscious women release excess weight without deprivation, enjoy food freedom, and step into their lives with more esteem and confidence. And in today's video, I'm going to go over 3 things that you can begin doing today that will enable you to get on that path of aligning with your health and fitness goals, achieving weight loss, if that's what something you want to do, and to start to be living with more freedom, happiness, and success, not only in your relationship to food, weight, and body image, but into all areas of your life. So thanks for joining me today. And if you like content like this, subscribe to my channel and share the like. And I'm happy to bring you videos weekly that will help you to create more peace in your life around food, weight, and body image. So let's start from the beginning. The first thing that you need to do is to start to know yourself more fully. Not to have a healthier relationship with yourself. That means spending more time with yourself in a reflective way, not in a way where you're beating yourself up or blaming yourself. The only way that we can get to know our drivers, the behaviors that are not serving us, is to come from a place of curiosity, an objective look at what's going on in our life and what we are doing, the patterns that we have in our life. And so taking the time daily to sort of stop and start to be with yourself in a more curious way, in a more compassionate way, not in a way where you're blaming yourself or beating yourself up, but to start to take a closer look at your patterns, your behavior, what's really going on for you. And that does include your struggles with food, with your weight, maybe your body image. Journaling is a great tool that can help you to start to get to know yourself better. Because having a relationship with yourself is probably the most important relationship that you'll ever have. And so having a healthier relationship with yourself is ultimately what we want to cultivate. It's first to get to know yourself, start to recognize what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then look at the patterns that are not serving you. The patterns that maybe are keeping you stuck, or the self-sabotaging behaviors. Maybe you are stress eating. Maybe you are emotionally eating. Maybe you are being too strict and rigid with your food and creating impossible demands on yourself, and then not able to sustain it over time. And then you end up in this binge cycle, right? When we're under eating and overeating. So you want to start to be more objective and start to look at yourself and your patterns in a way where you can be curious rather than judgmental. Because when we're harsh and judgmental on ourselves, we're not creating the space to start to cultivate a healthy, loving relationship with ourselves. So look at what your patterns are. What is it that has you keep running to looking for the perfect diet? You know, a lot of times we're taught, particularly in this world where there's so many diets, not to trust ourselves. So we trust the authority, or we trust the diet, or we trust the food police. rather than listening to ourselves and listening to our bodies. And so sometimes tuning into how we're eating and how that affects how we feel, tuning into the things that really are helping us to feel vibrant and healthy, rather than looking for rigid food plans or rigid ways of eating that maybe they'll get us to drop a few pounds, but they won't be sustainable in the long run. So cultivating a relationship with yourself, creating space to know yourself more fully, to recognize your patterns that might be destructive, is the first step in creating more peace with your relationship to food, peace with your relationship to dieting. Imposing another strict diet on yourself is not the answer, because it's not sustainable. Ultimately, we have to cultivate a plan of eating and a lifestyle that works for us. That's why diets, the one size fits all, does not work, because it has to be fitted to you and your lifestyle, your likes and your dislikes. And so getting to know yourself, getting to know your patterns and your habits, and the ones that you want to revise and shift so that they can be more supportive of your goals, whether that's to reach a certain weight and have more fitness in your life, or other goals in your life as well. So it starts with taking time to reflect, taking time to journal, and taking time to be a good friend to yourself. That's the step one. Know yourself. And step two is to manage your stress, or to recognize the stress that's keeping you from being able to be more mindful and intentional and aware of what's going on. So really, the second tip, the second step of managing your stress is closely related to the first step, because when we are stressed, we are reactive, and we're triggering that fight, flight, freeze response. And when that fight, flight, freeze response gets triggered, then we see through the lens of the worst possible scenarios. We see ourselves in the worst possible light. We are looking for anything that is of danger, and so we look for, what could go wrong in our world and in ourself, and that keeps activating that stress response. It's sort of like a spiral. So stress can dramatically influence our ability to know ourselves, to be more at peace with ourselves, and also the choices that we make in life. Because when we are wound up and stressed out, we are reactive. And it's hard for us to be intentional. It's hard for us to be mindful, not only about how we're feeding ourselves, but all of our behaviors. So managing your stress, taking time daily to de-stress yourself, is essential in cultivating habits that will sustain you and ultimately lead to weight loss success. Stress can dramatically negatively influence our behaviors, as you're probably well aware. If you are caught in a cycle of stress eating, another diet is not the answer, but managing your stress is truly the answer. So recognizing the thought patterns that you have that are stressing you out, because it's not necessarily the outer stress, what's going on in the world, it's what we think about what's going on in the world that creates the stress. For example, you get into your car after work and you're stressed out about work. Maybe you're stressed out about your boss or a coworker that's behaving in a way that's really not feeling very good for you. And so your car ride home, you end up ruminating about the stress at work, and maybe what's a scenario that happened that created some problem for you, and maybe there's anger and there's fear or whatever's coming up for you. And so as you're thinking about your stressful job or the stressful relationship you have with somebody at work, or maybe you're projecting when you get home that now you have to do, the to-do list is really long and there's all these things that you have to do, and you are in fact stressing yourself out by your thoughts. So by the time you get into the house, you're just reactive because you're so stressed out that, of course, you might run to the refrigerator and grab a glass of wine or open up the freezer and start eating the ice cream, because the stress is creating an imbalance in your body, and your body wants to come back into equilibrium and into balance, and eating or drinking will actually calm down the stress response. So if you don't want to end up in the refrigerator by the time you walk into the door coming home from work, the answer is to start to manage your stress before you get to the house. Make it a habit to start listening to beautiful music in your car. Start to think about the positive things in your life. Start to cultivate stress-relieving thoughts that are going to help you to come into the house in a more positive way, in a more intentional way, where you're not going to be compelled to dive into some destructive behavior. But if you come home with a little bit of space and a little bit of mindfulness and a little bit of breath, you might be inclined to put your sneakers on and walk around the block a little bit, or to do something that might be a little bit relaxing before you get into the next phase of your day after work. So being mindful of the stress thoughts, the stress patterns that are keeping you from being intentional and mindful about your behaviors is such a vital piece to healing our relationship with food, healing our relationship with our body. Making stress management an important part of your day is really important. And you want to even start the day with maybe some mindfulness, maybe some intention before you even get into your day, which means refraining from putting your telephone on right away or going onto social media immediately, but creating a stress-free environment as you come into the day will most definitely affect how you are throughout the day. So cultivating patterns and habits that will help you to get a handle on yourself and a handle on your life, which includes noticing how stressed you are and then taking steps and actions to start to de-stress yourself. Movement is a great way. Doing some stretching, doing some dancing, doing some gentle movement will de-stress your system. I love to use emotional freedom techniques tapping, and if you're not familiar with that, I'm going to put a link below, because that has been that's shown in research evidence, scientific studies, evidence-based research, how that relaxes the stress response in the body and allows you to be more intentional rather than reactive. And I can share some videos with you in the link below how to do this amazing technique. So the second step then is to manage your stress. Know yourself more fully, come into a relationship with yourself, and then start to manage your stress. The third step is to start to live your life more fully. Do not put your life on hold. Often I ask clients, why is it that they want to lose weight? And usually we want to release excess weight because we want to feel a certain way. We want to be a certain way. And we don't have to wait until we lose weight to feel a certain way or be a certain way. I want to feel happier. I want to feel freer. I want to feel lighter. So start to live your life with those feelings. Start to give yourself permission to buy the nice dress, to do things that you may not do until you release the weight. Sometimes we're putting ourselves on hold, putting our life on hold, and we are waiting until we lose the extra weight. So I had a client once who kept telling me she wasn't going to buy herself nice clothing until she lost 10 pounds. And the truth of the matter is that it had more to do with her feeling like she was worthy of nice clothing. So the answer to that was to go out and to buy some nice clothing now so she could feel good about herself, she could feel good about the clothing that she was wearing, and she can then create more spaciousness, more freedom, and feel happy now. That happiness, those good feelings are going to inspire you to continue to do the positive things that you want to do in your life that will ultimately allow you to release excess weight. Putting your life on hold until you lose the weight or until you think you look good enough is not the answer. I had another client once who told me that she was going to start dating once she started to lose the weight. The truth of it is that she had a lot of issues around intimacy, and the weight was an excuse for her to not to start to look at those intimacy issues. And taking it from that perspective, she may have never lost the weight. But as we worked on the intimacy issues, she felt safer to lose the weight. And she was able to start to date and interact even before she lost all of the weight. Because a lot of times we use the extra weight as an excuse to not be living our life more fully. So, live your life today. Don't put your life on hold. Start allowing yourself the things that you would be doing if you were at your ideal weight, if you were feeling happy and free. And as you start to live a more vibrant life, a more happy life, a more free life, giving yourself permission to do the things that you want to do, you will notice that the weight will become secondary. And as you start to cultivate patterns and habits of de-stressing yourself, knowing yourself more fully, and living your life more fully, the weight will oftentimes take care of itself. Have you ever been at a time in your life when you were enjoying what you were doing so much that weight became a non-issue and you ended up releasing excess weight? I've heard that story many times with my clients that, oh, I was so engrossed in this that I wasn't even thinking about food all the time. I wasn't even thinking about my weight, and therefore my body started to shed some weight. So get engaged in your life. Start to do things that feel good. Enjoy yourself. What makes you feel happy? Don't make your happiness dependent on what the scale says, what you weigh. Your happiness can be determined by giving yourself permission to first be happy and then engaging in things that actually do make you feel happy. So there you have it, the 3 things that you could start doing today to start to have more freedom, to start to align more with your health and fitness goals, and feel more confident and more self-assured in yourself and in your life. If you are struggling with emotional eating, I'd like to offer you my free ebook, 3 Steps to Stop Emotional Eating. I'll put a link below so that you can go ahead and get that. It's free and it's very valuable. It'll go a little deeper into some of the specific issues that come up for if you are struggling with emotional eating. Again, if you like content like this, please subscribe to my channel. You can press the like button if you like this video. If you have any questions or thoughts or anything else that you'd like for me to touch on, I'd be happy to address that in another video. You can certainly put that in the link. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to hear which of these 3 steps stood out for you and how you're going to start to put them into your life. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to the next video. Bye now.